Hello. 327? Yes. All right. Go. All right. So can I help you with this after? Um. Uh, my toddler lesson plan. All right. Toddler lesson plan. My professor did give me some feedback on the lesson plan here. I can share you the feedback she gave me first. Yeah. This is what she gave me. Overall feedback. Your lesson plan has important details, such as the alignment with the IoT. Worksheets are not developmentally appropriate for young children, especially toddlers. I am not sure how a lesson focused on aquatic mammals relates to the lives of toddlers. You chose an IELG that states names most objects in a familiar environment. Consider that guideline when choosing a topic. What is familiar to these children? Remember that open-ended questions are questions that require more than a yes or no answer. I see that you wrote a reflection even though you did not present this lesson in class. Did you implement at your workplace? Please know that you must present your lesson in class so that you can earn the full 3 infant/toddler clinical hours for this assignment. If you intend to revise the lesson plan to be submitted, please let me know in advance. All right. This is what I have. Okay. So let's start with the feedback. In that, it's probably going to determine in large part what changes. So she said that your chosen topic of aquatic animals is not fit for toddlers because the thing that you selected was being able to name stuff in a familiar environment. But like the what I have in the standard is not really that. But that's the Illinois early guideline that she said you were referring to, and you're saying that isn't what you're referring to? That the teacher made a mistake? It is one of them, one of those standards. Yes, it is one of the standards. Yeah. It's just language one. Right. Yeah, object names and also just in a familiar environment. Okay, so yeah, it is present there. So that one in the language one seems to be what she's taking issue with, in that your choice of aquatic animals does not match well with that standard, in that it is probably too difficult for your target group, in this case, toddlers. So, what familiar environment do you think that you could use instead that would be a bit easier for toddlers to process? Um, so cause these two themes I have for this little lesson plan right now, the little aquatic animals and the color yellow, was so called what the little classroom on the campus was the toddler classroom was learning this month in April. These are what they're learning for this month. The color yellow for sure. And then I didn't really see any aquatic animal part, but mainly the color yellow, and apparently the shape is like a square. Yeah. Instead of I didn't really see the animal part, but I see the yellow and the shape square. Yeah.
Well, if that's true, then it supports your teacher's feedback that aquatic animals is too advanced of a topic.
That topic is what they're gonna learn this month, but they haven't. I haven't seen that being taught to the little kids yet at the moment.
Uh,
Yeah, but the color yellow is the main one.
or, and how old are the kids in that?
They're like the 15 months to 2.5, and then most of them are one, so like 1.5-ish to 2.5.
All right. Well, then, if you're going to keep it, and your teacher is saying it's too advanced, then you would have to prove to her that it's not by gaining access to this material as an example.
Mm-hmm.
Within your lesson plan, do you have an example of the type of aquatic animals and stuff that you were going to teach them?
Like what I seen before with a previous month or two, maybe February or something. They did like community helpers, like the transportations, like the fire truck, the police officer, all those like stuff for maybe February. For that, they watched little YouTube videos, and then like they did some coloring sheets of the little fire trucks and stuff. Yeah, they did coloring sheets of it.
But in this lesson plan, what have you put as the materials that you're using to teach them?
For this, I had some worksheets, like coloring sheets. In here, the focus part here. All
right, the students will have a worksheet with aquatic animals, whales, fish, seals, turtles. Students can choose their favorite animals. Students will have a sheet of yellow dot stickers to decorate their animal picture. Yeah, I mean, I guess that's fine. The big issue here is if we go back to her feedback real quickly.
Yeah, okay, we can go there. Yes.
Is you have to somehow prove what she says wrong.
Mm-hmm.
She says, I am not sure how a lesson plan focused on aquatic animals relates to the lives of toddlers. You chose, an Illinois early guideline for names to most objects in a familiar environment. She's telling you to consider the guideline and what is familiar to these children. So if you're not going to change your material, nor am I saying, you should or you must, you have to prove to her how this topic relates to toddlers and that it is developmentally appropriate.
Okay. Because the so-called what I see with right now is mainly the focus of yellow, or should I just take out that part about the animals to make
That's
it
the question.
Just the color yellow? Because what I see this few weeks with the toddlers, the 1.5 to 2.5 have been like mainly the color yellow. They have for one of the little activities they made a bunny. They put like different colors of yellow onto the bunny.
Mm-hmm.
And that was one of the activities. And then yesterday they just like put some little blobs of yellow on a piece of paper, and then they folded it, and then like after they opened it, they saw like a little like a picture from there. So it's mainly the yellow.
Right. Nothing's saying you have to change the material.
Mm-hmm.
But you made this material.
Mm-hmm.
Or it's sounding like you're less making the material and you're more mimicking material that someone else created. Is that a more accurate representation?
Kind of in some ways, yes.
Then it's not that you can't have this material. You just need to explain why it's appropriate. So if you know they're going to be learning about animals, your best bet is to go to that teacher and be like, why is this appropriate for toddlers? Can you explain it to me? What's the logic behind this? Otherwise, I don't know how you would reconcile this feedback.
Oh, okay.
Unless you yourself know of another way in which to do so.
I think why they might have chosen this as a topic for this month, and maybe like, since it's spring, the parents might be bringing them to the shed aquarium or like to see animals. So that's why maybe for this month. And since it's like more springish for this month, they chose this topic for this month.
To me, that makes sense to me, and that could be right. But you're gonna want to know instead of more guess, right? Because you only get one shot at this resubmission.
Yes.
And at this point there's nothing, or I don't want to say there's no point in changing the lesson, but it's more, if you're in a situation that you are where this lesson is being taught to this group, then instead of taking it out, it is just the better approach for yourself, and both then to explain to the teacher, learn why the teachers in that classroom, who seemingly probably have bachelors in early childhood education, have deemed this a topic suitable for this age group. Once you ask those teachers and they answer, and you understand those answers, you can then pass off that understanding to your teacher for this class. That should satisfy her current feedback, because she just wants you to prove to her why this is appropriate. Not that you can't do this, but just show her why. And your explanation that you're saying you don't know, but as a current guess, that because spring's coming and they might take them to the aquarium and stuff like that, that very well could be the explanation. And if that is, to me, that is a very suitable one, because then it's going to directly relate to them. It's activities they are about to experience. You just have to, confirm if your suspicions are true. Okay. She just kind of mentioned about how the worksheet's not really okay, not really appropriate for them. Well, that's what we've been talking about for the past 15 minutes. She doesn't know where you got this from, and just from her perspective, it doesn't seem appropriate. For you to prove that, you have to go and ask the teacher at the clinic, because you said that this is the unit that they're going to teach. They must know something that we don't. You need to figure out what that is, so that you can tell the teacher, no, it is developmentally appropriate. Here's why. Yeah, because for this little assignment, I was supposed to present it with my partner, but she was not there, so I have to end up doing it myself. So I wasn't able to present it yet to her. Well, at least it provides you the opportunity to, flush this out. So when you do get to present it, it's a bit more fine-tuned, so to speak, or at least addresses her current comments. Yeah, because I will also kind of revise my reflection in some ways here for it. Yeah, it currently says, though, you still wrote a reflection, even though you did not present the lesson in class. So are you supposed to write this reflection after you present? For most of these little lesson plans for this professor, she wants us to sort of present the lesson plan part to her first, and then do the reflection.
But since so-called that day, I kind of joined a group, and they didn't really involve me when they did their presentation of their lesson plan, since they already had it done, and I had joined their group last minute. I didn't say anything during their thing because they didn't. I was looking at their lesson plan thing, but I didn't really say read parts of their little lesson plan because they were just passing back and forth the paper. So the reflection part, she said I could still do it, but on that or like do it on by myself. So which is what I did here. I did by myself. So I did the reflection part, and I know I would still need to present. I know I still need to present the lesson plan to her, and then get some feedback, and then do the reflection part. But I just did the reflection just in case, in case I was not able to present it yet. I just did the reflection in case, just in case.
All right. That makes absolute sense. And it seems like you've got that part handled.
Yeah.
That you're going to revise it after you present. Then, yeah. So then the main thing would just be what we talked about. Find out the information from, the clinic of why this is developmentally appropriate, what's the logic behind the unit, and use that information to spruce up your current lesson plan to satisfy her current comment, then you should be all right. That's because that seems to be her only complaint.
Okay, it's really just to make sure why the teachers in that classroom chose this idea for this month.
Effectively. But it's less why did they choose it for this month and more the words here, your teacher is saying this is not developmentally appropriate. How does this relate to toddlers? You need to answer those two questions. And what I'm saying is that if the clinic is going to be doing this lesson, they most certainly have to have the answers to these questions. And you want to find those out so that you could then answer, your current teacher's question. And thus prove to her that, yes, it is developmentally appropriate. Here's why. And yes, this does relate to toddlers' lives. Here's why. And then you'd be good to go.
Would I have to add it to the lesson plan, or would I verbally talk?
I think you're going to put it somewhere in the lesson plan. There's most likely a rationale section, right?
For this one, it's a simpler version of it compared to the one before. I did all that many, like 15 or more pages. That one. This one is less of that. This is like more simple. Yeah. It's more simple for this one. There's the reflection, assessment, and then the directions up here. Yeah, this is a more simpler version of the lesson plan here.
Then look at the top, because that's probably where it's going to end up being.
The materials is mainly the standards and the focus objectives here. Maybe is that where I put it?
Yeah, I'd put it in the standards box. Like, you have your physical and you have your language. I would then make a new sort of section and literally just title it rationale, and then write your explanations of why it's developmentally appropriate and how it relates to toddlers right there.
In this section here.
Correct.
Okay. About how's it? Okay. Okay.
So you would just do it right under language and development. You would make a new section, kind of like what you've done previously.
Is it rash?
Yeah. And you can just put rationale in bold. And put the colon as well. And then the two questions you're going to be answering is, why is this, lesson develop? What was it? Well, what did her feedback say? Developmentally. Why is this lesson developmentally appropriate? And how does it relate to the lives of toddlers? Those are the two things you want to answer.
Okay. For the rationale, okay.
Correct.
And then everything else you think should be okay for the thing at the moment, for the lesson plan?
Yeah. Based off of your teacher's feedback, it seems that way, yes.
Okay. It's just I need to explain it in some ways.
Yeah. That seems to be all that she's really asking for, yes.
Okay. I just need to ask about that part, and I think you think I should be okay with this lesson plan?
Based off your current teacher's feedback, yes, it seems so.
Okay.
That's the only thing she wants addressed.
And then for the feedback part, I just have to like somehow maybe present it to the class and then revise it from there.
Yeah, I think you are absolutely correct, and that's the right approach for that scenario.
Okay. This is what I have at the moment for my feedback. But for my reflection right now, I just kind of like, just yeah.
All right. I think your reflection, looks fine. It's going to change, of course, based on when you actually present the lesson and what feedback is given to you during that time frame. So I'd save sort of like any revisions or comments until then, right? Just because a lot could change between now and when you actually present.
Yeah, okay. So which part of it you think will I change after like I present it and stuff? Is it like the last few questions that will change? Like the
Yeah, it's hard to say. Hmm. I think so. Just simply because, well, you've heard it's a bit difficult. Can you zoom in on the questions?
on this one, right?
Yeah, you're gonna have to change the window to zoom in on them.
Hey,
Currently, the bigger portion is the still your teacher's comments.
oh.
What goals for improvement have you set? I feel like it all effectively could change.
Oh, okay.
But wait, because so you have implemented this lesson, you just haven't presented it.
I didn't really I didn't so-called really do this with the group of toddlers. But like they are doing something mainly they might do something like this this month sometime this month, yes.
Well, considering it's supposed to be based off when you implement it, yeah, I feel like everything but that final question would, be affected, because only then could you really see, how well it actually played out, right?
Mhm.
Yeah. But, I'd leave this for now, because maybe when it actually takes place, how you feel about it, and sort of how well it goes, right, is really too different. And in that situation, you won't really have to change as much. It really is just going to come down to on the day when you implement the lesson, or like the contents that make up your lesson are implemented. Really, how well that specific day goes kind of is going to determine and shape if any of your responses currently here change. So
yeah, okay.
It's really a waiting game on this one.
Uh-huh.
We gotta have experience first before we really have any sort of good idea how well it's gonna impact your reflection.
Okay. For this part, okay. So it's really just the rationale for needed then, and then maybe the reflection change after presenting it?
Yep, just those two things.
Okay. Then would this part, what I have right now so far, be okay, even though she didn't really mention about the assessment part?
I would not know. If the teacher didn't comment on it or say anything bad, then it'd be difficult for me to, be like, oh, it's right, or oh, it's wrong. If you were concerned, I'd ask the teacher before resubmitting it if, this was a section that they also wanted you to spruce up. Because if she hasn't commented on it and I say, oh, I think you need to do this, and it makes it worse, well, that's not helpful to you. And so in situations like this, fortunately, asking the teacher is going to be the better approach.
Okay. Okay. Then I think I might be good for now then.
All right.
Yeah.
Get you logged out, sent on your way. We met in person on, or whoopsies, we did not. We met online via phone. We discussed. What is the name of this assignment? It's not just lesson plan, is it?
It's so-called the toddler lesson plan and
implementation?
Yeah.
We discussed the toddler lesson plan and implementation assignment. I don't think that needs to be capitalized. We discussed the toddler lesson plan and implement. We discussed the toddler lesson plan and we met online via Google Meet, period. We discussed the toddler lesson plan and implementation assignment. All right. Per usual, get sent out Saturday evening to the teacher with what we just wrote in that box. And otherwise, you're all good to go.
Okay, thank you.
Of course. Good luck with the revisions, and otherwise, have a good weekend.
Yeah, you too. Thank you. Bye-bye.